Actually have some Harpy Primite action for you today. It appears that we have a couple of other interesting ideas in the back as well. Make sure you guys smash the like button, that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more content. So a lot of people have been requesting, Harpy action when we can actually get the chance to kind of see this deck come out of the woodwork and do its thing. And this was actually kind of an exciting little opportunity just to get the chance to see what this deck can do out here. And nice little showcasing. You gotta remember, one of the things that makes Harpies, actually be really cool is, well, hey, this card right here, being able to hand trap this from your hand while you have a Harpy on the field. Classically funny. Now, I do see that there was some interesting little ideas with this build. I see that we are playing basically like a little Harpy or a little gold sarcophagus package in here. I guess to toggle into some potential draw power down here through Giant Trainer, because I'm only playing 3 names. In terms of Harpy ladies themselves, two normal monsters, the triple perfumer and the 1 Harpist, and of course, remember, Lordly Low gives you the ability to beam this on out into the field, so you can start using it to kind of, punish your opponent while you got the rolling doors going for the stupidness. We're actually playing an Into the Void in here. I don't really feel like we needed this. There's a lot more optimization that I think can be done with this build. If you're truly going to go with a stun aspect, then maybe you should focus more on the stun side of things. It feels like they were trying to do some OTK lines with the Horror stuff, which is not the worst idea possible. You got to remember, though, when you have a build like this, it feels like, if you're splitting down too many things, also, we could put the 3rd Lancia in here. We could definitely put in a Sanctum in here as well to kind of close up some of the gaps that we have with this. But in terms of a list on paper, something to have fun with out here for the locals experience, I think that this checks pretty much every box that you're going to have out here in order to kind of do what you want to do. And I do think that the next level of Primite stuff is going to massively help this deck, go through its next little evolution here. Next up here, we have some 60-card Ryu-Ge dinosaurs. Now, if you guys have been trying to pay attention to the content we've been doing, I've been trying to keep up with every single dinosaur variant that comes through here with the Ryu-Ge stuff, because I think that the Ryu-Ge stuff is massively underrated. It is a budget player's best friend in order to, kind of advance, the card pool and getting some of those cool ideas up and running 100%. So it's always kind of cool just to see what we're doing here. First thing I see up here is we're playing the Lone Shifter for the cross out. Depending on how your locals experience is if your opponent ends up just making your life a living hell and you have a massive infestation of Malice playing Shifter, yeah, this is going to help out a lot. You need to be able to shut that deck out of getting the opportunity to actually set up. And, being able to cut them off if this is good. Now, if your opponent goes first and Shifters you, well, you're going to go like this, and you're going to call it a day, because unfortunately, that's kind of the dinosaur experience right now. In terms of the 60-card pile, the reason why you're going with the 60 is because you want to be able to flush out more of the dinosaur side of the deck, and you want to make sure that while you have all of these moving pieces going each and every way, it kind of feels like looking at this, I assure you that it all comes together in the way that, you're trying to go down your combo lines. Obviously, the Soul Raptor lines for the standard dinosaur stuff is still going to be very important, but rolling a field spell essentially to get this and this rolling also feels extremely good. Trust me, once you get those lines going, you're pretty much going to be in a godsend position with this deck. Outside of that, I don't really think that there's too much to really tell you. I think that you just need to understand that you're playing Dinosaur, you're a little bit more fragile than most of the other decks in the meta, but, your new little pieces are meant to kind of help pull this deck together. Ooh, we have some Mimighoul action for you, and we're back on the Kashtira stuff. Also, where are the hand traps at? This build opted for 0, and I mean 0 hand traps, which is very, very interesting too. Their logic was board breakers were just a little bit more important, and Solemn Strike was just kind of an OP card, which You know, we've seen a lot of success this format all out of Solemn Strike, and especially with a deck like this, who, you know, you open up the door, you go first, you set the Solemn Strike as an extra level of protection. Your opponent has to start systematically flipping up those flip monsters, kind of start getting them off the field, or they're just going to be in a dog shit position. And that's where, you know, this deck kind of wants to take advantage. You know, you're going to start flipping things up. The minute that your opponent makes their big move, per se, you're able to Solemn Strike, shut them out, and they're just like, oh, you know, 2-3 card dedication to some things from the extra deck is very, very detrimental. And you know what? I'm not surprised. I also see we are main decking the Thrust here, but with that Thrust, we're also playing Destructive Daruma Cannon. And post side decking, I see we have the Mischief of the Gnomes, you have the Dimensional Barrier, and you also have the Artifact Sanctum. You have a lot of good power cards down here in order to kind of help you out. I also, oh, because we are main decking the Azaroon in here, you get it with actually playing the Silhouette Hat Rabbit as another one of those little options to kind of get things going. I mean, this looks fine in my opinion. It's very nice to see that, you know, the Mimighoul players are kind of taking this deck a little bit further than some of the other builds. You know, a lot of builds very dedicated on those hand traps, but, you know, having a build like this here that goes, no, you don't have to have those hand traps. You know, we can step away from that norm and we can actually explore other routes. That is what we need to be seeing right now for 2025. All right. What in the world is this? Oh, this is Centurion. Actually playing Horus cards. Hold up here. I thought that the Horus engine was dead in this deck. I thought that everybody had washed their hands with this and said, no, this garbage is not useful. One duelist out here said, nah, we are still going to play this stuff. Respect, actually. Because I've seen so many people just gutting this package out. And he also played the bad one. Yay! Quef got to see some play. Oh man, that's really awesome. It sounds like I'm belittling this, but I'm really not. Like, the Horus package has been dubbed by so many people to be one of the worst packages that you can kind of throw into the modern era deck. But not only, like, do you see this deck relying massively on this, you made sure that you were seeing this. Holy crap, man. Like, you were full gas ahead on the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation stuff just to make sure that, you know, we can get to where we need to be. That's actually quite nice and refreshing, actually. I also do see we're main decking Triple Fouloir, citing the Perulias, which is fine. We're going 2 Primera, 2 Trudea, which I don't really have an issue with this. I kind of feel like because you're playing more of the Horus stuff, you kind of want to cut back a little bit on these. I also see we are doing 1 Autry and 1 Gargoyle. Honestly, this stuff should get you where you need to be. And of course, I mean, you're playing the Bysteals in here to be able to bump out and control your opponent. I mean, story as old as time, right? Bysteel good. Bump out card. Me continue on with combo. You lose. Oh, and then I see we're getting into some real 800 IQ things in here, man. I see you. Well, you know, if Tempi's not doing it right now, then I guess somebody else has to pick up the slack for this. But more power to you out here. I guess we live in that sort of era. All right, now, oh, speaking of, we have some Tempi action for you here. Now, I do see that times look like they've changed a little bit. I guess that this build's kind of relying on some Bysteel action out here. Kind of get things going. I mean, hey, discarding this, turning this into a Druid's Worm and a Magna Hut. Maybe getting some draw power off of the Brand of Regain's pretty good. You have all the Tempi, or all the draw cards in the world here. Just kind of make sure you can get your thing here. Yeah, the Lubellion just turns into extra resources in order to make sure that you can kind of, you know, climb up through the ladders and do your thing. Also see here, you know, you got droplets for the board breakers. And of course, we have some Ultimate Slayer action here as well. You know, kind of clean up those pesky monsters. I mean, you have this. So we are playing the Atum. two Bysteals is technically some interesting gas. I also see that we are playing the Bucephalus too as a little mill target to kind of keep the revolving door going. And of course, Destructive Daruma Cannon and some interesting little crossout stuff in here as well. But this is actually kind of nice and a little bit refreshing to see. You know, while we have all these, you know, everybody trying the different variations of Tempi, trying to make one work in their favor, it is actually really cool to see that Lubellion just plops right on in here as a little extra piece in order to kind of keep things going. So, Okay, I see you. So what do you guys think about today's decks out here? You got to remember, with the way things are going, there are a lot of changes shifting around on the micro scale of this format, which I think has definitely made things a little bit more interesting. You never know when one little tech choice is just going to make it or break it for you. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.